Hey sis, welcome back to Makeup and Mindset. Last time we spoke about where our attention goes and how feeding what hurts you keeps you connected to it. So today we're going somewhere that a lot of people skip over. We're talking about knowing your worth before you start dating someone. Because here's what I've noticed. A lot of women go looking for love before they've gone looking for themselves. And then they wonder why they keep ending up in situations that don't quite feel right. So let me start with a scenario. I want you to sit with it. You meet someone. They seem great. They're attentive. They check a lot of boxes. And so you lean in. You start adjusting. You start making room for them. And somewhere in that process, you lose track of what you actually wanted in the first place. And you don't even realize it's happening. Because you were so focused on whether they wanted you that you forgot to ask whether you wanted them. And that right there is what happens when you date without knowing your worth. It's not just about settling for someone who treats you badly. It's about losing the thread back to yourself while you're still in it. You were so focused on whether they wanted you, you forgot to ask whether you wanted them. That's what happens when you date without knowing your worth. Now, I want to clear something up because when people say know your worth, it can sound like a confidence thing. Like, you just need to believe that you're the prize. But knowing your worth is not a feeling, it's a foundation. It means you know what you value, you know what you need, and you know what you will and won't tolerate. You know what you bring into a relationship. And you know what a relationship needs to give back to you to actually work. That's not arrogance, that's self-awareness. And without it, you don't bring standards into a relationship. You bring hope. And hope without clarity is just waiting. So, let me give you another scenario. Imagine a woman who has never really sat with herself. She's always been in motion, always doing for others, always in a situationship or recovering from one or talking to somebody new, like constant. And she's never had a real conversation with herself about what she actually wants her life to feel like, what values she's non-negotiable about, and what kind of love she's been longing for that no one's given her yet. And then she meets someone, and because she hasn't defined what she wants, she starts measuring herself by what he wants. Is he happy with me? Am I enough for him? Is he choosing me? And now his opinion of her has become the mirror she uses to understand her own value. That's what happens when you don't know yourself before you love someone else. You hand them the pen and then let them write your worth for you. So let's make this actionable. Knowing your worth before you date doesn't mean you have to have it all figured out. Okay? It just means you start asking yourself questions before you start answering to someone else. Questions like, what do I actually need to feel safe in a relationship? Not just excited, safe. Do I need consistency, open communication, emotional availability? What are my non-negotiables? Not a checklist of his height and his job title. I mean, his character, his values, how he treats people, how he handles conflict. What patterns have I been repeating that I haven't been honest with myself about? Because the pattern is always trying to tell you something. Write those answers down and revisit them before you get emotionally attached to someone new. Because your answers are your standard. And your standard is your protection. And before I close, I want to clearly say this. Knowing your worth doesn't mean that you have to be completely healed. It doesn't mean that you have to be perfect, right? It doesn't mean you have to have your whole life together before you're allowed to be loved. It means you stop treating love like a destination you have to earn. And you start treating it like something you participate in from a place of self-respect. Because when you know yourself, you don't disappear trying to be chosen. You show up whole. And you let the right people recognize what's already there. So this week, I want you to do one thing. Before you check your phone for that person's message, before you analyze whether they're interested, ask yourself, do I know what I want? Do I know what I need? Do I know who I am outside of this? Because you can't find the right person when you don't know who you are. And the most important relationship you will ever build is the one you have with yourself. And that's how you come back home to yourself. If this episode felt like something you needed to hear, follow for more makeup and mindset. There are new episodes every Tuesday and Friday, and everything I used in today's look is linked in my bio. And I will see you on the next one, sis.